Okay? And then after you click the record, live on Facebook, Evolving Romy. So, sundin mo. Choose where you want to post your live video. Share on a page you manage. Wellness Land Education kasi yan yung na-announce. Next. So, standby Ate Lily, preparing live streaming preview. Wala pa?
Okay. Oh my God.
Okay.
Like,
Fetching video stream. Then, auto-generated event logs. Wala pa, sandali.
Meron siyang may lag.
may lag time.
Title, growth with intention. Amidst crisis. Taga merong amidst crisis and apprehension. Meron kasi siyang pinapapil-upan. Share to your
Ano bang bright yung light ko, Doc? Okay lang?
Maganda na.
Ha?
Posting.
Maganda.
Kasi kung ganyan, masyadong dark, no?
Document movement. All right. So, Ate Lily, we're going live in 5, 4, 3.
Yeah.
Mabagal si Facebook.
Sige lang. Okay.
So, it's redirecting to Facebook Live.
Gonna review ako, no?
Opo. Okay, so now we are on live stream. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat, sa mga nakikinig ngayon at sa mga makikinig later, tomorrow, the next day, the next week, whatever. Welcome to this very beautiful, very interesting conversational journey. This is part 1 of 3 sessions. The title of the sessions, the title of the conversational journey is Growth with Intention Amidst Crisis and Apprehension. And this session will last for 37 minutes, and we will share to you later on bakit 37, 47, 57. Obviously, mga fans po kami ng 7. We don't like to take too much of your time, but we will make this next 37 minutes as delightful and as insightful as possible. So without much further ado, we would like to introduce to you our guest discussant, which is Ate Lily Presbitero. And I would like to share my screen, and I would like also to introduce first also my wife, my co-host for tonight, Dr. Milagros Paredes. All right, so I will share my screen. Okay.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So I'm deeply honored to introduce to you our discussant, Ate Lily Presbitero. She has been a family friend since we journeyed with her family with the cancer cure and care of their mother way back 2004, 2005. And again, from 2010 to 2018, over the cancer of her younger sister, Amy. Somehow, cancer had caused crisis in their family, but most of her encounters with crisis is in her work in community organizing and social development, where they help in problem solving, conflict resolution, troubleshooting, and peace building among people in groups and communities, most of whom are among the marginalized sectors of our society, such as small-scale fisher folks and dock racers, farmers, landless peasants and rural workers, informal settlers in urban slums, as well as some indigenous people. Academically, she is a graduate of BS Mathematics, major in Operations Research from UP Diliman. A decade later, she finished her master's in Development Management at UP Los Baños after being granted a full grant scholarship as a fellow of IHI, International Human Resources Institutes Network. This is a group founded by a Japanese missionary doctor who was a Ramon Magsaysay awardee for international understanding in 2003. Her profession brought her to Africa and Central Asia, where she finally chose to become a missionary for social ministry, rather than continuing to be some kind of a developmental mercenary on job assignments. It was in Kenya where she started to be a cosmic coach and missionary. For some years now, she has been involved with the Relief and Rehabilitation Unit, RRU, of the Catholic Church in Cebu, focusing on disaster risk reduction. Currently, Atalili is focusing on her PhD dissertation in organization development, a study that has been repeatedly interrupted by certain crises in the past decade. In her opinion, when crises or calamities strike, either of natural or human or social causes, vulnerabilities increase and the level of crisis heightens. And it is in these situations that people's capabilities get more challenged. Personally, she is willing to share her journey and life's lessons in dealing with crisis, but with the end in mind as the focus. And this is growth with intention.
All right. So thank you very much, Dr. Mila Paredes, for the very wonderful introduction of our guest discussant this evening. So magandang gabi, good evening, Ate Lily.
Good day.
Good day.
Good day, everyone.
Yeah. Kumusta po kayo? So, why do you want us to focus on this end in mind, growth with intention, which is the topic for the next 3 sessions?
Okay. Well, aside from the fact that it was recommended by Stephen Covey that you have to begin with the end in mind if you want to be effective, it is also, I think, a more common agenda for everyone, because I think the path or the means towards that end would depend on our situation, individual character, and personality. So I guess it is easier to, discuss, and at the same time, it is more important to discuss, given that a lot of people right now in this COVID situation have been bogged down by the ways and means on how to survive.
Okay. Adelili, we have chosen a conversational journey. Is this more appropriate than the lecture input on this topic?
Oh yeah, well, lectures actually would be the easiest for us, right? You just prepare and then you deliver. But then you would be wondering how much of our efforts, get into their minds, into their hearts, and in their systems, and are helpful to them. So I guess it's better to be more interactive, because this crisis hovering around us now, would need helpful ideas, and we want to know if we have really helped. So a conversational tone would make us not only get the feedback, but also situate our answers to some other questions according to their need. So I hope if this is something rather new to them, Well, it's also my first time, for this kind of online journey. But as a coach and organizer, we have been journeying with a lot of people. I also do online coaching, but more on one-on-one, not like this one that you don't know the faces of the people who are listening to you.
Yeah,
But
who are
the
listening to
people
you
that-
and who will
yeah.
be listening to you, because we are recording this and it will be posted also in social media. All right. So again, Ate Lily, then I think you have some slides to share for
Okay.
the viewers to have more grasp of what's gonna unfold today. So once again, to our dear viewers, growth with intention amidst crisis and apprehension, a three-in-one conversational journey.
Hello, good evening, and good day to everyone. Well, this is our title, and we already said it's a conversational journey, as we explained earlier. And for the online viewers, please participate in this way, okay? Listen, watch, think, or reflect so that you can digest what you're listening. Write down, please, comments and questions so that we can communicate later to Dr. Omi, and move if necessary. And there'll be some instructions along the way. And try to apply after the session, if possible, and then share feedback, please, okay? Now, we try to learn fast. This is online, and one of the things we need to contend with is the limited time, okay? Now, FAST is also an acronym for the following. We try to use formulas, yeah? Set frameworks, where that's part of my training in math. And yours also. Everyone has encountered math in some way, not just in school, but I'm sure you may be doing math and using mathematical thinking, but not really consciously, labeling it as such, okay? Now, acronyms, these are ideas in word capsules, and signs, symbols, body language, so that things are registered into our system. They say, if things are registered into your body, it's an embodied message and it stays longer. And then tips, well thought out pieces from praxis, which is practice, with reflection and experiential learning, and also theories, of course. Now, in this three-in-one conversational journey, let me altogether employ various disciplines, okay, that I have encountered in my life's journey. As Doc and Doctor has said, crisis is part of my life and also yours, I'm sure. It's just that maybe I got to encounter it more because I was really in community organizing, which is basically problem solving, as I've said, with people's participation, and conflict confrontation when necessary. And there are different levels of conflict. We say some problems are high level and some are low level. It depends on the situation. And of course, there are also personal crises. When I remember when I decided to take up this social development vocation, it also caused some crisis with me and my father, because as a math major, you are not trained for community work. So how would you survive? And you are a lady, you're a woman. Well, we have proven that that's not a question anymore. Now, of course, here are the following disciplines that I'll try to employ here, so that what we'll be sharing are like whole foods, for the thought, okay? I'll use mathematics. Math is a symbolic language for problem solving, actually. We try to extract, and formulas and certain lessons from our experience and try to formulate it in such a way that it can be shareable to others. Okay? We use science also to get affirmation and rational explanation, because science has proven an empirical knowledge. Okay? Then logic and philosophy. in a way, some people would ask, the reasons behind this, what's the wisdom behind that, and and it helps us check if our formulas are reasonable enough, to people. Faith and theology, it helps explain the unexplainable, at least from my own perception. But then I also encountered one book of Albert Einstein, God into the Equation. He said, like, in trying to see the gist of things and try to understand the complexity, he has to put God into the equation before things became, clearer and comprehensible on his part. And finally, praxis. This is practice or action with reflection to highlight the experiential and the practical. Even Pope Francis said in Evangelii Gaudium that reality is more important than ideas. I guess because reality has several dimensions that you have to consider. So again, to do this learning fast, we try to employ these different tools we have. Hopefully, in this interdisciplinary manner, we will be able to address the mind, the thoughts, our bodies to register some lessons, the heart to feel for whatever we need to, and the spirit. Well, that's what I learned from Dr. Paredes Oldamor. Remember, holistic health. Okay, now we'll share 7 tips towards growth with intention amidst crisis and apprehension. The first motto, just say the title in its acronym form. GWI-ACA, okay? Growth with intention amidst crisis and apprehension. We shall transform, okay? We transform GWI-ACA through this journey, okay? In session 1, we'll tackle the asterisk. Session 2, the plus sign. And session 3, the exclamation. You see, along the way, why it's like that. Okay, first is to understand disaster. The nature, the essence of disaster. Now, this is from experience. I remember in my initial organizing experiences, one thing that really is the most difficult, they said, is when there's conflict, in among people, and it's not just among themselves, but with someone or an agency or other people outside, the community. And another thing also, I remember in Africa, we have the saying, Africa is always troubled, but never destroyed. Why? What makes it like that? And finally, disaster. I'm involved with relief and rehabilitation unit of the Catholic Church on disaster risk reduction. Okay, let's try to sort out how these words are related. And I'd like to introduce into the picture the word friction. It seldom occurs, in most encounters, but I think it's the root in the essence thing. Okay, so the way I presented it here is like one is more basic and the other one would be the result of those basic things. Okay, friction is part of natural reality. I use the word, the symbol, an equal sign, okay? We do not live in a frictionless world. They say that the reason why in physics we say for every action there is a counter reaction is because there is friction, okay? It is only in a frictionless world that we won't encounter resistance. And that could result to conflicts, the differences among people, it could be positive and negative. This is just a symbolism, no? And then crisis is a function. Let me be a little bit, or not even a little bit. Let's apply mathematical thinking here. You see, math helps in problem solving, okay? And crisis is one of the problems that we have to deal with, Now, in symbolic language, it helps if have variables what are involved in this different situation, and then you connect and see the relationship. So we say function of. A crisis is a function of conflict and many other factors, the personality and all the other things in the environment. Okay. Now, what is disaster? Disaster is the sum total of the different crises. Now, that could even spelling wise, that should be crisis with the letter E, because we're talking about many crises, unresolved, not dissolved, not solved, and whatever else. The sum total of that would become the disaster. So in a disaster situation, if there are many people involved and they are all undergoing crisis and they cannot sort it out, that would spell disaster to a situation. Okay? Now, dictionary meaning. These are some of the meanings. We can just read. And by the way, because we are going to share to you this PowerPoint presentation so that the file can be used for your review. And also, we don't have that much time to discuss each slide. Okay, so see, the definition of crisis has built-in positive and negative into it. It's a turning point or crossroads for better or for worse. Okay, so there are two paths possible when you're in a crisis situation. One is even seeing it as a 0 hour, and you know that 0 in the number line is in the middle of the positive and the negative. Just register that fact. Apprehension is the feeling of worry. It can also have two meanings. The negative connotation is, say, here, said here, apprehending a criminal. But the positive is when you apprehend a situation, there's more understanding, and that would be positive. So see, even those two words, which mean so negative to us, have built-in negative and positive aspects. Let us always remember that. But then, feelings. That is the first thing that normally blocks our thinking. So we have to face our feelings, well, with this COVID situation. I was happy that I got this. It was given by one scientist friend from UP Los Baños, and it was very useful to us. It's like a framework to analyze, hey, what do I really want to be in this pandemic? Should I stay in the stage of fear or stage of learning or growth? So it's like a gradation, you know, it's your choice where you're gonna end up. Now, I won't have to read this because we'll be sharing the PowerPoint. Fear has different indicators. This could be it. And maybe you can see some of those you experience, surely. Okay. Learning are these indicators also. Because see, it's different. It's more positive now, you know. You have a cool head and then more awareness to manage the crisis, and you try to be the best that you can, okay? And onwards to growth. This is where we want to be. You know, when we think of others and use our skills, we have compassion and empathy and help. Even in the church here in Cebu, there's the motto, okay? Ampo, pray, amping, take care, and ambit, share. So you don't really stop just on the, you know, self-protective level that you pray and you just take care of yourself or yourselves in the family, but you have to share. And Dr. Paredes and Dr. Romila and I have decided that this is our way of sharing to you whatever we know, okay? Now, growth with intention, you know, growth, yeah, it's progress, but with intention because we want it to be goal-driven, to have a purpose and a direction, okay? So this is where we will put that asterisk to the we, because the I there, the intention is very important. It's like the asterisk of the star, you know, that would help you drive towards where you really want to go and really grow. Because in crisis, you see, your capacities are challenged. And it is when you see strengths and weaknesses, and it is what you do, you know, to those realizations that would spell the growth. Now, for example, we use this at home. Before the growth session, we had some growth sessions, you see. This is this part, that's the main sentiment, you know. See, sad look, okay? But after deciding to grow, then you have some results, however small. We have to celebrate the victories, however small, okay? Then you have that smile on the face now, okay? Now, tip number 3, we have some handy tips, okay? It's easier to remember if we use the hands, okay? The 5 R's of we aka. We just use the acronym we aka, okay? If you have 4 R's for education, or reading, writing, arithmetic, and I would say reflection, okay? Now, 5 R's, these are verbs actually, you know, but let's see. The thumb, okay? Remind yourself, no fear and have faith, okay? The thumb is a very versatile part of the hand. It can, you know, move, and at the same time, even stronger than the other fingers, no? Fear means false expectation appearing real. I quoted this from Dr. Paredes. For me, it's feeling of anxiety excessively ruling within oneself. No fear, you know? Even this sign means you're okay. But have faith. Faith means Father Almighty, always in thy heart, to instill inner strength and hope to overcome the challenges. The pointing finger, okay? Remember your role and the rules. You see, crisis brings out the best and the worst in us people. And so there's the choice, you know. Then you have to choose wisely. The middle finger, okay, this middle finger, we say there's you read and investigate. If this is the C level, below C would be the causes. Observable facts, obviously, at sea level, and then the effects. Now, you may not know all those right away, but it's important to try to see as much facts that you can gather. And the ring finger, well, this is your team, you know, you commit to your team so that you have people to work with you. And the little finger, the bottom line, okay, you review your action. Now, cross the fingers, okay? Cross your fingers. That is what we want to do. To curb, you know, the negativity and connect for positivity. Okay, let's use the left hand. The thumb, you aim to strengthen, okay? You label, it's aimed to strengthen. The pointing finger, the blaming, okay? You blame, this is blame. The middle finger is more of shame, you know, you associate with shame, and then the ring finger for claim, and then blame. Now, when you say cross the fingers, you connect the positives and curb the negative, okay? Now, I have something to show you, just to explain.
Express their hopes and have you ever wished for something and said to yourself, I've got my fingers crossed? Or perhaps a friend of yours in conversation has said to you, they've expressed their hopes and wishes that something would take place, or that they would receive something nice, something that would be helpful to them, something that would enhance their life. And you said, I've got my fingers crossed for you. Well, I'm going to explain to you a little bit of where that came from. It's an old European pagan belief that the cross was a symbol of perfect unity. And that at the intersection of the cross, that was where beneficent spirits dwelled, and that when you made a wish upon it, that's where your wishes would dwell, would be fastened to, is at the intersection of the cross. Well, over time, this custom kind of fell out of place, and people began to cross fingers. Now, the funny thing about crossing fingers was originally it required two people to do it. We talk about crossing our fingers, but we're talking about crossing our own fingers, right? But originally, crossing fingers required two people, a wisher and someone who offered mental support.
Okay. So when you cross fingers, it's like wishing good to others, okay? So exactly that's what we try to do. Connect for positivity, the thumb, the ring finger, and the pinky finger, and curb the negativity, the blame and the shame, okay? And then when we cross our fingers, we say, gui aka, okay? Just as an expression. We want to have some new expression. They say there's something faster than the spread of a virus, and it is the spread of an idea that whose time has come. Now, there are things important in a crisis management, okay? Now, I don't have to go through this because these are basics. Just review your management notes and lessons, okay? But I put the word crisis so you remember the key things: connectivity among people, our role and the rules with the system, investigation, strategy and tactics. You have a clear plan, the big plan and the small plans, you know, implementation of plan and sufficient support, okay? And we talk about these prime tasks, planning up to evaluation, and you can review this in the notes. And then the 7 M's, okay? These are the things that you manage or you consider in your management. In the books, usually they only mention the 5 M's, the manpower, men and women, method, moment, timing, money, and machinery. But in my experience, you have to consider 2 more. The mission of the team, the purpose, you know, so you have to be more purpose-driven, goal-oriented, and more motivated. And of course, mercy from God to cap it all. That's why we said, you do your best, God will take up the rest. Now, at home, we tried to apply this, and this is, you know, this is what came out of our yes. This is what came out of our discussion. I can share in the second session because it will be the sharing of experiences. Now, Heed Wuhan, pray for life. You see, we talked about seeing the situation below and above. See, this is how I saw it, okay? It's a worldwide wake-up call to unanimously understand and underscore 4 things: health, hygiene, holiness, and holistic wellness against the acceleration of the virus and the new threats to life. Well, there are rules, and so we pray, okay? But pray is not just praying the ritual, our religious rites, but it also includes the rules and regulations from the authorities, acknowledging the Almighty God in yielding ourselves to the requirements of life. You can recognize this. It's all over us on our daily programs. For life, living to the full is to be increasingly faithful, not fearful, every day, every time. So that to heed what began in Wuhan, let us pray for life for everyone. Okay. Now, this is one of the framework we use. You know, when you see your capacities as you handle crisis, and then you try to assess yourself. This can be one tool. And then you resolve that, oh, I grow spices now in my garden. We really have the garden, you know, because of the lockdown. But this is your own personal garden, okay, with the following aspects. And enrich knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits, your cash. We'll discuss in the second session. And so we can just say, Gui Aka. Now, there would be sharing of whatever answers you have in these 3 questions, okay? Please find time so that we can have richer sharing in the next. And we have some videos to recommend. Here are the links, okay?
Ate Lily, can you go back to the previous slide?
Okay.
Just to give some time for the people who will be watching this video, whether live or later on. Which idea or tip cited here do you find interesting, intriguing, and why? How can these tips be applied in your particular situation? Any comment about the discussion and or the discussant? So these are the 3 questions for session 2. All right. Can you proceed, Ate Lily?
Okay. Well, because I think it's a time element. We wanted, how much time do we still have? Because
we have 2 minutes.
Huh?
We have 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, for 2 minutes, we can just show this one inspirational video.
Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you asked God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. You may not see it now, but when it gets you on the other side of it, you're going to see exactly why it went that way. And you're going to be okay with it. But quit tripping during the process. Oh, Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh, Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh, Lord, why I lose my job? You ain't the only one unemployed. Oh, Lord, why he leave me? You ain't the first chick got left. This might not even be your last time getting left. Pull yourself together and quit tripping, because you in the process. God is processing you. He ain't through with you. If he was through with you, you would not wake up in the morning. He gonna fix it. Everything is, first of all, let me tell you this right here. Why are you tripping? I look back on my life and all that I've been through. So the stuff I'm currently going through, I have built up enough reservoir that living in the car taught me that this ain't it. So the things I'm going through now, I know this ain't it. That he gonna come get me in a minute. Being me, I stay uniquely who I am, because you are okay just the way you are, because God made you uniquely who you are. He wanted you to be just like you are. I mean, really, man, if you look in life and just step outside for a minute and quit tripping, it really ain't no problem. That God I serve that done this for me, he'll do the same thing for you.
All right.
Okay.
You can stop share, Ate Lily.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Ate Lily, for the very insightful discussion. This is just the first session of 3-part journey, a conversational journey. So we will have more conversations on the next session. So once again, thank you, Ate Lily. Thank you, Dr. Mila Paredes. And
Thank you to our viewers.
thank you to our viewers and those who are viewing it live right now, and those who will be viewing it in the next few hours, few days, few, etc. Yes, and for those who are interested about Ate Lily's PowerPoint presentation, just message us in Facebook, and she is very, very much willing to share to you her full PowerPoint. So she told me it's not patented. Yeah, it's a
So we can share
free. Just make a request. So it's something like, you know, you have to ask and you will receive. If you don't ask, you will not receive. So, all right. So once again, good evening, everyone. See you next session. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat. Good day.
Good day.